Dummy Switch Pod. The boys are back.
Ah,
How are you, Chris?
Coders,
How are
Coders,
you?
Coders, Coders, Coders. Ain't no drink strong enough. There's no drink strong enough, and I've got a pretty stiff one in my hand. And look, I still don't feel better after Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm disappointed, but look, good to be on the show. We had some good rugby, local derbies, but yeah, I know you happy. I'm not even ask. I know you happy. I know you. I know you happy. So yeah, But otherwise, how's it going, Curtis?
Good myself. Like you said, another local derby round, another Origin round. The Dan Carters
Mm,
of podcasting here to give you our
man.
opinions, our flagrant
Mm.
takes, and of course, please share your opinions, share your thoughts, especially about the Sharks getting cooked. Um,
Hey,
Besides
no,
that
don't say
church
those words.
announcement.
It's fine.
Okay, then you can share about the Stormers getting cooked. Either way,
Yeah, let's talk about somebody else, man. Because look, we've been having these problems,
yeah,
so it's nothing new. So no, no, if we skip us for now, man. We're going through it. We're going through it.
yeah. Church announcements. You can find us here, Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
Yeah.
all the socials, and yeah, I think if we just start on news of the week, and that I mean, there's a bit of a break now. Gonna watch some Six Nations, and that's kind of it. I think the only thing that came across my desk was the news of steroid allegations, which they're trying to link to World Cup wins, which is a bit of a stretch. Not a bit of a stretch, it is a stretch.
It's a
Like,
stretch.
yeah, two things, you know, causation. You're saying that they're testing less, and then you're trying to link it to the World Cup. It's not necessarily true or true in any aspect. I mean, I don't know. To be honest, I don't even dig too deep into it, and it seems like a bit of sensationalism.
It is quarters, and for me, you would think even at the World Cups, isn't there like there's WADA, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
World Anti-Doping Agency or association, you don't know, but they you would think that they would be at the international tournaments. Said, I
yeah,
read the article. I read what Said said. Look, the capacity, they lost their accreditation and so on and so forth. Not yes, they're testing less, but they can get tested at any time. So, which means the risk is there for the players. But again, I'll go back to WADA. If
and
WADA,
my thing is also that they have been players that have been caught out. So
yes. So
you
what's
know,
the issue? And it's not only players from South Africa. It's the one that's most publicized, obviously. But look, let's not roll in the mud with the pigs. Um,
mm,
let's leave them there, because they're reaching. This is a reach. This is yeah, no, this is I would say this is a monumental reach. The reach of the century. Because come on, let's
yeah.
play rugby. Rugby's played on the field. I- let's
That's also
say
my yeah, that's my thing where it's like if you can come up with something solid and say this is happening, this is an issue, this was
yeah.
ignored, this is but it just seems like you're bringing up one issue and you're saying well this contributed to them winning the world. It's not cross. I'm also if you can bring things and say this happened,
Yeah.
then it's fine. But you
Where's the
just
evidence? Where's
yeah,
the evidence? You see, because right now these are very outlandish allegations,
yeah.
and we understand why they need engagement. And everybody knows, I think, world over, it's a shame because our poor country has experienced resource exploitation. Now it's engagement exploitation, on social media because everybody does it. If you want engagement,
Yeah.
have a go at South Africans, and
Yeah.
then you'll get your
Yeah, there's
engagement.
certain
And
Twitter accounts that are built on that.
you
So,
understand. So that's why I say let's not wrestle in the mud with the pigs. They can talk all they want. Reality is that there's four of them in the cabinet, and they've got one. and there's a whole northern hemisphere. They only have one. So yeah, let's let them go jump.
Yeah, moving on. I think let's start reverse order. Bulls hosting the Sharks. I think let's start
Hey,
there.
I wanted to
Uh,
jump. I wanted to jump on Saturday. Like, man,
yeah, I mean, from the beginning, when you
yeah.
saw kicks for touch not made out, knock-ons, skew throws, it kind of foreshadowed what would come later down the
Mm.
line, and that the Sharks just weren't in it. And
And they look gassed, eh?
conversely, yeah, and conversely, the Bulls were, and you can kind of see that Johan Ackermann blueprint
Yeah, no, it's
and the
it's
counter
settling in.
attack and the kind of not letting the ball die, throwing the ball around a bit, the
And he's got
forwards being
Harold Foster
industrious.
looking like that Harold Foster at the
Yeah.
Lions again, you know?
Yeah,
Way,
rolling back the years. He's got him rolling back the
yeah.
years, looking like a bog potential there.
Hey,
Well, especially I mean in this game, and it's so. I also want to ask the Bulls fan base, where are all the Akkers out guys now that they've given
yeah.
him time and he's
Now,
had
hey,
to settle on his own coaching staff.
and and that's a valid question. And you know what? We've been saying give Akers time. Unfortunate for the Sharks that you know, hey, the time it just coincided with us because I really believed, honestly speaking, that the Sharks would put out a better showing after the Lions. Like you mentioned, they were just you saw it. The writing was on the wall from the beginning. They looked gassed as well. The Bulls had the better energy. Of course, they're at home, you know.
Yeah.
But I think overall, for me, it was a bit disappointing. And at a time, it was also embarrassing, you know, embarrassing because I believed so much. And yeah, but I think this game as well, it's more evident that there needs to be a lot of, because you can't say yeah, game time, and all of that. Because in a way, some of the guys were playing back to back games. You know,
Yes, but if
um,
this is their only back-to-back games that they have, and this is the only game time that they
yeah.
have,
Where do they
because there
grow
are
from there?
players. So that's one thing where I will say, like, you've got your Mavaseres,
Mm,
guys like that who he's a guy that kind of where he showcases his skills and his form is when he gets an extended run.
mm,
Then guy hasn't been playing at top level for how long? You throw him in
yeah,
one game, you're kind of getting warmed up. Second game, you know.
does better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then guess what's going to happen after this? There's going to be a break, and then Khaleesi is going to come back, and he's not going to play. So
yeah. That's the
the pointing of fingers when it's like some of these guys they really do need a decent run, and it's not just him. You're seeing a number of guys where they could benefit with an extended run, and
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's not a great reflection just to look at two games and say that okay, this is who this guy is.
No, for sure, for sure. No, and especially because we've seen before what some of these guys can deliver. You understand? So I completely agree with you. And yes, and that's why for me it's disappointing and embarrassing because you remember we're not gonna go in there and say yeah we believe if you don't rate the guys.
Yeah.
The Lions. Yes, hey, look, the Lions are on a run. And uh, and okay, that happened, and you're like, okay, it was after their break and so on and so forth, and everybody was on a break, but they come back stronger. And then you've got the Sharks. Okay, they're finding, that there's that new vibe, like new coach, new voice, and then they make him permanent, and then the results,
Yeah,
the
but it also
results,
coincided with players being arrested.
yeah. At the same time, you see, so there's so many factors, yes, but at the same time, quarters, when you look at it, some of the decision making as well, some of the opportunities, there's things where it's like it's not coaching. Also, it's not. It's just a matter of the player under duress made the incorrect decision.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of how long. Um, or how many opportunities will they get, before they decide? Because it's unfortunate. It's the nature of the game. It's going to get to the point where it's either the guys are going to start delivering, or there's going to be some serious personnel changes, because you have guys there. You saw some things. Like against the Lions, you saw some things where you're like, okay,
Yeah,
there is something there. They don't have that consistency yet, in terms of being able to sort of back it up and build. We thought, okay, because I mean, Stobbers were high flying. You think, okay, after doing that to the top of the log team, you'd be able to, take energy, galvanize, and even
yeah,
even with those circumstances, Curtis, that yeah, I know guys, they need game time and so on and so forth. I understand that, I hear that, but at the end of the day, some of the things are inexcusable.
yeah,
From a player perspective. I still say, we give Coach JP the chance. We let him finish it out.
yeah,
Let
yeah,
him let him run down the season so that he can start afresh with his own preseason. I still think he's the guy. It's just unfortunate that when he became permanent, things just haven't worked out. But this is the start of his sort of test and journey as a coach as well. But yeah, there's a lot of players where they need to look at themselves, put their hands up and say, look, I can do better. And that's where I'm at with this, is that you could even see, even with the connectedness, sometimes
yeah,
even on defense, how they were just, especially in and around the ruck, how the Bulls were able to just,
yeah,
it's that thing of, again, it goes back to what you were saying, of the minutes, and guys playing together. It's not there yet. So yes, disappointed. Yes, I was a bit embarrassed. I was a bit angry. I wanted to jump off a bridge. Not really, but but you know what I mean. Like
yeah.
it'll come right. I
But
just give
that's
Coach
that's
JP a
that's
chance.
where I have to disagree with you in that
Mhm.
you
No,
saying it's down to player error, and that I think it's half half. I think they both have to take blame, especially because
yeah,
from a coaching side, yes, I agree with you. Give JP time. He hasn't had that much time, so on and
yeah,
so forth. Came in mid-season.
yeah.
There's things there.
Yes,
Bull
Curtis.
score from a kick return. That's poor defensive work. That's a
Yeah.
coaching thing. Bulls kept on finding that little chip kick in
Yes.
behind.
Okay. Okay. Agreed.
Again, Pollard did it. De Klerk did it.
De Klerk did it.
Yes, so it's a reoccurring problem where you can see that, and players of this level, and that's also when you can see how good these players are. It's that, and you can see the level that, for example, the De Klerk is operating on, where they can spot these things, which
Yes.
might not be as obvious to other players. Where you see those things happening, you see a Lorenzo Julius being moved to 13, where he's less
Mm.
effective than he
Yeah.
was the week before playing 12.
Yes.
But at the same
Yeah.
time, you've got an Esterhazy there who's so on form. But these are
As
coaching
well.
decisions. These are coaching decisions. These are management
True.
decisions. So there's
True.
things around that where it's like I'm not comfortable wholly putting it on the players. And it's like
Yes.
when something, for me, the sign of poor coaching is when something happens over and over and over again
Yeah.
and they're unable to deal with it. For example,
I
those kicks, the counter
the,
attack. Yeah,
those kicks, Coders. I think. Sorry to cut you off there, but I think those kicks. I really believe it was the. Yes, you'll say, okay, the Bulls players, look, credit the execution, but I really think it was the coaches. They identified, the Sharks' defensive shape and
yeah.
pattern, and they
And
saw that,
sorry,
okay,
sorry. Also, Yaku Williams playing 15.
it just didn't work. It just didn't work. So, look, understood, Coders, and yes, I also agree with you in that sense that the coach has also got to he's got to carry the can, on that, to say, yeah, he also, the changes that he made were not the changes. You would have expected maybe, consistency from a positional perspective. Okay, yes, you've got circumstances around that with guys going out, but still, you know, the coach, yes, he drives the mission. I still say this, quarters, these guys are professionals, you know.
Yeah,
At the same time, yes, guys, maybe you're a bit of out of position and whatnot, but it's still that opportunity, to play.
Yeah.
and you want guys to, even if, yes, not all the things they work out, but you'd want guys to have to show a bit more, you know, and it is going to be difficult when that the changes are there, that dynamic, positionally, but the basic things almost look like they were gone now. That
Yeah.
communication that they had, where it was looking good against the Stormers, where guys were talking to each other on defense, setting things up. All of a sudden, it wasn't there,
Mm.
So and that's, as a player, okay, if we can do the ABCs, it gives us that opportunity. And also, even as a coach, to say, okay, this is not working. Let's make this adjustment. Let's make this change, and so on and so forth. We're not in the
Yeah.
coach's mind, so you don't understand. You wouldn't necessarily know exactly what his thinking is. What he was trying to go for there. Because Yaku, for example, Yaku Williams as a 15, no, he's not. It won't work. I don't think
Yeah.
he's, for
Not at this
me, he's a
level.
winger. He's a winger. He's a winger, out and
You can
out,
get away with
complete.
that at Curry Cup level, but you can't get away with it, yeah.
Yeah, but even then at Curry Cup, at some point you will get exposed. So,
Yeah.
things like that. And then it's that conundrum now. You've got Estays, who's a 12. You've got Jorenzo, who seemingly, look, he can play 12 or 13, but and maybe possibly wing, but seemingly he's more comfortable. He's got more of an impact at 12 than he does at 13. So it's those decisions. But I think let them play it out,
Yeah.
rest of the season. Let
Yeah,
them
and
use this,
the guys will
use
also
this.
come back. The guys will
Yeah,
see us gonna come back. Etzebeth's gonna come back. It is a bit of a rest
yeah.
for them. So
I
I'm
say
I'm also
this.
not gonna.
I say those quarters. Let them, let them, like now. If I was Coach JP, I'd be looking at this and say, okay, this is maybe my in-season, preseason, in
Yeah,
order to understand what the players, okay, I can put this guy at 15 and he can still do. I can put him at 11, he can still do. To see,
yeah,
because like I've been saying, the season's gone. I don't see the Sharks challenging anything anyway. I've been saying that, so and as much as I back them, yes, I'll consistently back them, but
yeah,
the season's gone. So use this opportunity as that fact finding mission to understand, if you are thinking that far ahead, to understand, okay, whether these guys can hang or not, so that
yeah,
in preseason or when the season ends, you can make decisions to cut guys. Don't have to wait for preseason. Don't have to wait for guys because you've tested them live.
yeah,
You know what I mean? You've tested them live, and in terms of what you want to do live, not doing, need to find somebody else to come and do the job. And then that preseason will give you that opportunity to do that. And then from there, we judge from there. But credit to the Bulls. Enough
yeah.
about
I
the
think
Sharks.
yeah. Enough for the Sharks. I think let's go on the
Yeah.
bull side of things. I think Akers.
Yes.
There were guys
You
that were
have to.
Akers out. Now Akers' blueprint is starting to show through. He's cleaned house in terms of coaching stuff. He's got his old friend son
Brought his
there.
people. Brought his
Things
people.
seem to be working out for him. The counter attack is what
Yeah.
really stands out for me. Uh, the pack is kind of always the pack, and it's kind of hard to single anyone out in particular because they're really cohesive and
But
they're all doing a job together, and it's just what they're doing in terms of getting the ball to the backs and letting them express themselves, letting them
yeah,
play. For example, that one forced the try where he went straight through the middle there
straight through the
from
middle.
a stolen lineout.
Mm.
It's things like that where you see these guys and just Moody at 13. He's also he looks so comfortable there. You've
Yeah.
got Forster, like we said, rolling back the years.
Mm.
The thing for me, even Pollard, I think Pollard had
Pollard was, yeah,
a
yeah.
good
Let's
game.
let's let's
I
let's
thought he
not
had a
be
very
afraid to
good
say
game
it.
here.
I thought
I thought he had a
he
very. I
no
mean,
he
people are. The reason why I'm saying is because people are always gonna go to like goal kicking and like he missed a few
no
kicks. But for me, the way
I
that Pollard was playing around the pitch, I thought
he
he was very good.
was,
Yeah,
yeah,
my
because
question to
his
you,
pack was dominant. His pack was
yes,
so
yes,
dominant going forward, getting him that go forward. There was more time. The Sharks
yeah,
defensively were found out. completely exposed. And sorry, just one last thing. When I'm talking about even the personnel changes, I'm talking about staff as well. The
Yeah.
defensive coach, you can't keep on getting away with what he's been getting away with. And I'm sorry, Joey looked good when he was at the Bulls and is at the Sharks. Right now, it doesn't look good. But yes, um, in terms of the Bulls pack, Pollard, yeah, quarters,
The
yeah,
other thing,
they,
the thing I want to ask is now you've got de Klerk, who had kind of two or three big moments in this game.
mm-hmm,
Where does he fit in terms of he's in the alignment camps, but we saw he plays wing and he plays 13. We saw
mm,
Moody there. Moody's playing 13. I think he's better player, can operate there better on the wing.
yeah,
Better player can operate there better. The same team, you've got Aronson, who at the
mm.
wing can also. So it's difficult when you see a guy
Can also
playing
play
at that.
fullback.
Yeah, so when you see a guy playing at this level, and then it's kind of like I think that's also the story about Papier as well. It's because they're playing on such a high
Mm,
level, and I mean David Creel was also coming to the conversation before about this,
yeah,
where they're playing at this level, but it's like, can you see, for example, these guys fitting into the box in terms of de Klerk or Papier?
I'll say this starting with Papier. Papier he's been there before. In 2018 when Rassi came in.
Yeah,
I guess maybe he was lumped in the bag where that other Dupree was lumped in. What is his name? The fly off that used to play for the Sharks,
yeah,
when his father was coaching. That I think he was lumped in with that garbage bag, except he's now and more consistently than
yeah.
anything, he has been performing very well for the Bulls. The problem that he's got is that there's just too many, you
Yeah,
know.
there's two, which is yeah, there's two, which is kind
There's
of the problem with de Klerk, where there's a kind of like, but I think de Klerk is able to kind of like fit
De
into
Klerk can
the
break in
system. Yeah,
as
so
a
yeah,
wing,
yeah, yeah,
not as the center for me. Yes, you can see there's an argument for it. Okay, I saw a comment about it, and yeah, it's a nice idea to explore. In terms of should we need to, in case of emergency, you know, but Papir, not really, because it's not like he hasn't been giving in the performances, and not once has he been,
yeah,
said, no, come back and have a look, come just have a lunch with us, and here's a new kit, you know, they haven't,
yeah,
and I think that's telling enough that nah, for him, I think it's tickets because,
yeah.
and I
It's
mean
time to
we've
go to
seen it.
Japan.
Otherwise, he would have, yeah, man, he must go get that in. Is it the end? He must go get that in, man. Just cut his losses, cash in. And if they really want him back, if he just keeps on playing at this level, things can happen. You never
Yeah,
know. But the way that it looks right now, I would say this is just my opinion. No, for Papier. De Klerk, yes, I think more as a winger. And I'll say yes because, like you're saying, David Creel at one stage, he was in that conversation. Even De Klerk got in before him.
mm,
And I think even De Klerk has shown, he's shown a few things every now and then that, okay, he could potentially, it was his consistency, I think, error rate, that was hurting him a bit. But now he's looking more confident. You're being invited to the alignment camps. You're being told that, hey, look, do X, Y, Z. Hey, you can be in. You never know. So
yeah,
with him, I think yes. I think yes for De Klerk. Otherwise, they wouldn't have called him.
yeah.
You, you, you know,
He's got
there's
that like,
something. There's
yeah. There's
something there.
that Brent Russell X
Yeah,
factor.
there's something there. He's quick. The balance. In his running, strong runner. He's able. I think his game is getting better. He's always had that chip kick. Even
Mm,
at the Pumas. But I just think he's making less mistakes. Because I think that used to hurt him as well back then. And I think right now he's found the form, and I also think he's found the right coach. in Akkers in being able to get that out of him. So yeah, I think de Klerk, yeah, definitely. It's just like we've been saying, the riches that SA Rugby has got. This
Yeah.
we've got so many. We can put out any team. You can select any guys from that alignment camp, any guys that have gotten maybe even less than 50 caps. You can put out a team and that can still go out there and do a job and beat most sides. So yeah, but to answer your question, I think de Klerk for sure. He's got a
Yeah.
chance. He's got a chance.
Yeah, moving on. Lions hosting Stormers, yeah.
Wait, before you move on, Quarters, you were talking about the Bulls pack. They're operating, like you're saying, as one unit. But for me, I can single out, I think Nokia is just looking,
Yeah.
man, look, Nokia, he's looking stronger and he's looking, and without him, that Bulls pack is a different pack. And I think he underlined how important he is to the Bulls, and I think even to the Box, because he's just growing and growing and growing. So yeah, I just have to mention that. Not a big
Yeah.
fan of the Bulls, but you gotta give credit where it's due. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, moving on. I agree with you there. Moving on to Lions, Lions hosting Stormers. Yeah. Uh,
Hey, yeah,
yeah,
go.
I think the Lions kicked on. They kicked
The
on
NBA
from
coach.
the week before, and I think the momentum and the I don't know what it is. These guys. It also comes to when they speak after the game, and they're like, this week we had to change the mindset. We had to change the mindset. We had to, so this is the thing where you feel like, why can't you buy in every week
Every
and
week.
do this
Yeah.
every week? But I mean, again, I think it's that thing of being at home as well. Um, I think that helps
Yeah.
the group a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
And they caught the Stormers cold. They caught the Stormers cold, and the Stormers are going through a very rough patch. And it just seems to be getting worse. The team that they put out, it wasn't, in terms of rotations or poor team, it wasn't. It was a
Yeah.
team, it was their team
There's a
that you'd
team.
expect to operate at that level. But I think the Lions just caught them cold, and the Stormers coming off the break just look very disjointed. You've got Sasha, who has come on, he wasn't captain this time, but he came under a bit of fire being the captain. And then he's like kind of okay, doing some good things here and there, but it's kind of like he's playing by himself. And then I feel like the centers are also kind of like just playing by themselves. And then I feel like the forwards are also just doing their own thing. And then it just comes together as a
Yeah.
team that's just they're not in it's not one band, one sound.
Mm,
They're all just
mm,
doing their own thing, and it doesn't come together in a way that's beneficial for them. The Lions, on the other hand, were very good in neutralizing the things that they could lean back on, like the maul. They neutralized it
yeah.
for large parts of the game, and when the Stormers did score from a maul, it was ruled out.
Yeah.
So you've I felt like the Lions were good in disrupting them in that way, especially in the maul, where it's like, okay, maybe we can match them up front, but the things that they rely on and things that they can fall back on, we also need to prevent those things from happening. The Lions also leaning on their strengths and what worked for them the week before with Moni van den Berg, the
Yeah.
box
I
kicks,
was I was
finding
about to
that
say that.
space.
Mm,
A repeat with Mpeku saying no, let's do it again. Let's do it again.
do it again. This
Yeah,
thing works.
let's just do it. And I think him also, it goes to the Papier conversation where he's having such a big game that it's
Yeah.
hard to kind of include Papier, who's also having a big game.
Yeah. And I mean, the one that's incumbent is the one that's most likely going to get the
Yeah,
first look. So incumbent in terms of being in the squad. Let me put it like that. But I mean,
yeah,
easily he can be the starting line for the Box on any day and give you, a good performance. So yeah, but definitely, I mean, Storm was cold, yes, but you don't want to make too many excuses for them because they've been at the top of the table. I think they sort of slide. It it definitely needs to be very worrying
Yeah, it's complete
for
loss of momentum.
the wheels of it looks like the wheels have come off, and you would think and expect that a team at the top of the table, you've done so well to get yourself in that position, to try and to back that up, freshen things up in terms of yes, ideas or how you want to play or bring something different, to keep on elevating, but it's not happening for them. It just seems like they're trying a bit too hard. It's like the more you try, the harder you try, the more
Yeah.
you're going to make those mistakes. It just comes off as that, and they just don't look settled anymore, And the funny thing is, you can't put your finger on it because it's the same guys. you know, it's the strangest thing because you. How do you explain that, Curtis? You've been top of the table and then you just start falling and the fall keeps happening. I've seen comments about, yeah, no, that the Sharks at the time and they played the Stormers and whatnot, the referees, this, that, and the other. But the fact
No,
of the
no,
matter is that
no.
the Stormers have lost three on the bounce. There's problems over there, regardless, they've got
My
the
thing is
quality.
they weren't some of the games they were winning, but they weren't playing that well. But then
Yes.
week on week, there's been regressions in terms of okay, we're losing the ball in the air now. Where like last week,
Mm,
okay, we were competing or we are doing fine.
mm,
Now Angelo Davis is beating us, or that was one of the things. So it's like
yeah,
there, so there's a regression there. There's a regression at scrum time where it's like last week we were totally dominant. This
yeah.
week it's like it's 70-30. Next week it's 50-50. So I feel
Mm.
like it's small regressions every week, and
And
those
they add
things kind
up,
of
eh?
they've added up and they've culminated in them having
Mm,
this bad run because you can see. I mean, there's times where they were winning the scrums, but it wasn't as dominant as they should have been.
yeah,
You know, the ball in the air, it's not as dominant as they should be, especially a top of the log team. You look at
yeah,
like at as your 10 also, it's the kicking performances, things like that. It's not as dominant and it's like week on week regressions where it's like these guys they need this week off. They must go do team building or something to where they
yeah.
can galvanize. But it has been a week on week. And then conversely, you've got the Lions where it's a week on week improvement. You've got refreshment in the team
Surprisingly, eh?
with horsepower. Mahashe,
Yes, I was about to say that. I
the
think even
stallion, the
this
stallion. He's
Stallion, Stallion security, that security
and
that
he
comes
yeah
Stallion.
and he leapfrogged over. Whereas this also brings me to the thing where it's like sometimes, I mean, we're not there for training. We don't know how guys train. So
Yeah.
some guy could be training, but on match day, another guy that's training
Yes.
worse than him could be better. I don't know what the situation is, but you had Mahashe, Jared Kearns, and you've got Renzo Duplessis,
Mm,
and then you see Mahashe go over him and start and
yeah.
have two great games, and then you see Renzo Duplessis off the bench have so it's a weird. And I said they need a refreshment at that sixth spot. Then you've got Lekani also stepping into the starting lineup with Fenta out.
Yeah. No.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
Cronier back from injury, looking good when he came
Yeah.
for
Got
him
that
when
try as well.
Mpeku, yeah,
Mm, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, look, refreshed indeed. Yeah, in terms of the Lions, I think even the energy from you know, I, I think I'll tie this through. I think the energy of having the under 20 guys, you know,
yeah,
coming through, um, I think that also makes a difference, and also just what surprisingly, I'll still say what surprisingly what Cash has managed to do to turn the thing around where it was at
yeah,
one point looking like there's some inconsistency. But I'll say all of that with caution because you were at home, you know. The tests are going
yeah,
to come now when yes, the overseas teams come, and also when you have to go overseas. So, but again, credit to the Lions because they brought it. They brought the
yeah,
intensity. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. They had a proper plan and they identified that okay, they like you said with their strengths with Mone van der Berg, they were just always. It just looked like the Lions every single time were just always moving forward
yeah,
and the Stormers were struggling. Whether the Lions were moving forward through the boot, through the carries, they were going forward. through the scrums, in their mauls as well. They were going forward all the time. The momentum was completely with them,
Yeah.
and even the energy. It really. I think just like the Bulls game, the Sharks, that it was one sided. From start to finish. Score lines and make things look a bit like, oh, okay, maybe they were in with a shout, but there was, yeah, they really went in with a shout, and the Stormers have got problems, man, uh, and their problems are worse than the Sharks
Yeah.
because because they were at the top of the table and and now they are falling, and you can't understand why. That's the thing. It's like it's so hard to understand. Okay, what's going on? You know?
Yeah. I think the week will benefit them. They just need to go do some team building, sit around a campfire,
Mm.
maybe
Take a
then,
dip in the Atlantic, maybe. You
yeah.
know?
Just other things on that game. I thought Bronson Mills was good, especially
Kaboom.
when you
Yeah,
see him versus Johnny Roche, when it's kind of like guys kind of on the same age, same level,
yeah.
battling it. I think Roche also had a good game, but I like to see those kind of contests. Cash
Mm.
afterwards said they asked him what the feeling was. He said the feeling was relief. So yeah, maybe we need to change that relief into another feeling. It can't just be like, ooh, at least we won. It needs to,
That's worrying. If you're saying relief,
yeah.
so it means I didn't have a plan. It was like, no, guys, fat hell. And it's coming out like, you, okay, no, they did it. No, 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 no. Yeah, you're right, Curtis. Let's change the language there, bro. Not relief, man.
Yeah, any closing remarks from you, Chris?
Yeah, look, a couple, right? The Lions, the real test are going to start coming when the other teams come. It's no more derbies. The other teams are going to come from overseas. They're still going to have to go.
I forgot we
Stormers,
won the shield. I should have even started with
yeah,
the fact
no,
that we
but
won the
yeah, you
shield.
guys are Shield champions. But that doesn't mean anything. We've been Shield champions, man, and that didn't mean a thing, bro. So that didn't mean a thing, man. So yeah, that's the lies. Stormers problems, big time issues. They need to go take a dip in the Atlantic. I'm
Yeah,
saying, and Bulls. All of a sudden, the Bulls are looking like they coming back on the up. I say, back Uckers, trust him. Sharks, look, got nothing to lose. Just see what's going on, do a proper stock take of all the players
yeah,
in live situations for next season. And yeah, let's see, man. It's a break now. We're looking forward to the coming week. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to any Six Nations, to be honest. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to URC. Never
yeah,
mind those guys because yeah, but mm, mhm.
yeah. We'll be back with one more derby. I'm happy to see someone took our advice in terms of the school uniform and getting into.
Yeah.
I can't
Hey
teach you
man,
guys everything. I can't
you
teach you
can't
guys
teach everyone
everything.
everything, man. You
Yeah, but
know.
I think that's it from us, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.